Hey team, wanted to make a quick video. I just read this book and it's about Ayurveda and balancing your life to boost your immune power, keep yourself in balance. And I will say I picked up the book I didn't see that it was about your immune power and what have you, about balancing the elements in the body and the mind. That's what I presumed it was, given that I knew that it was to do with yoga, and yoga is about balance and breathing and maintaining that balance. So I kind of knew that that was going to be it, but I was excited to read it. I had only heard, the Ayurveda kind of talked about in some of the yoga videos that I used to participate in. I liked what they were saying very much. It kind of did the basics of Ayurveda, and it also talked about being mindful of your everyday life, looking at groceries, looking at your daily habits, when you wake up, how much sleep you get, where your mind is at throughout the day, things like that, doing yoga, just being mindful and being present. And I think that is 100% great. I will say I did get a little bit worried, and I know why they did it too. And so I'll kind of explain that too. But they kind of went through some diet things and some diet changes. And I think that that's a very fun experiment. It kind of went through your type, based on Ayurveda. What is your force? What is your driving force? What are the elements that drive you? And then based on that, it kind of talked about different diet changes, things that you can eat. And they were all healthy, all, like vegetables, fruits, and they maybe stretched your imagination a little bit. Why don't you try this type of vegetable? It's a little more exotic, a little more fun. So I think that was really great, having that element of exploration as well as the health foods. But I did get a little bit worried, just because even within the book, it did say that you are driven by different forces throughout your life, and there are different times that you'll have different elements that are kind of coming to the forefront. And it did say in the book that you have kind of a birth force, that your dominant original kind of makeup, kind of where you come from. But then it also talked about throughout the day, you might have different forces depending on the hour of the day, depending on the seasons, depending on your age, if you're a young kid, if you're, an adolescent, if you're an adult or going into old age. It all kind of differs and changes, and there are different elements at play at different times. And so I think that kind of worried me a little bit, just because it did go all out and say, this is how you should buy your groceries, this is what time you should have your snacks, based on your type, what elements are driving you. But I don't know if it specified that that is variable, and it is very, very variable. And it did talk about trying to combine, if you have different people in your family with different elements, making slight adjustments for the different elements at the table. And so that's what you can use. But I think that that amount of structure just had me a little bit worried. I will say, though, that I understand why they do it, because obviously they are, professionals. They want to make sure that there is no confusion, and it's a very fun experiment. If you were to have snacks at these particular times, depending on what elements are driving you, it's great for mindfulness. It makes you think, well, where am I lacking? What is my driving force right now? I've not been as grounded as earthy. So right now, maybe the ether is calling to me, or, the air, because it's earth, wind, fire, air, ether. No, I think air is wind. Sorry. But I just think that it's a great call for mindfulness. And I love that they did kind of go into more of the yoga. I think I would have liked to see less about diet and more about the balance and the ebbs and flows, and so less dictation and more trust in your understanding of it and your interpretation of it is what I would have liked. But I understand why they did it. It's a fun experiment. I would enjoy trying to have, whatever foods at whatever times, given whatever forces are driving me that day. So I just think that you do want to be mindful of what they are doing when you read it, and mindful when you are practicing what they are preaching, when you do go to bed early, when you do get up early, when you have your snacks. Just be mindful while you're doing it, because you have a right to say no. You can say no. You can be like, I think that they might be wrong, or, you know, like, just know that there are options in how you move forward with your Ayurveda and your study and your practice. So otherwise, I thought it was a very cool book, and I thought it was very thought-provoking. So